world war. And it's not about who's got the most bullets. It's about who controls the information. What we see and hear, how we work, what we think. It's all about the information.
You want a war? You got a war. And there's no looking back. There's no forgetting. And there's no forgiving. I can see it all clearly now. The more we build, the more haters try to tear it down. The more we build. Now you listen to me. All of you. You hoodlums don't own these streets. We got an army that can seize these.
Yeah. It's been a while. Huh? It's been a while since we've heard this. How long have I been saying it? How long have I been saying it? Huh? Yeah. Here we go. Okay, I'm Covert Radio. This is the Sunday show. Probably on Monday. I mean, it is 1:43 a.m. Sunday night, late Sunday night. So a lot of you will hear this on Sunday. You know, late Sunday. Some of you will hear it tomorrow. So here we are. You know what I mean? We're at a turning point. And you know, the last election in 2016, Covert Radio, the mess hall, was just dedicated to political commentary and, you know, what are we going to do if this happens, and what are you going to do if this happens, and this and that and all this and that. You know, that's the biggest. I think that's the most beautiful thing about being a human. Is your ability to learn and grow. You got to be open-minded. You got to be open to it. You know, I love learning. I've said that from day one. And I've challenged anybody to prove me wrong. I want to be proven wrong. Tell me about myself. I want to be told about myself. Because I want to work on myself. I want to be better. I want to be smarter, you know. And, thankfully, it's happened. I mean, you know, but this is different this year. We're definitely at a turning point. There's something going on with my sound here. Let me see something here. Check. 1. Okay. I'm not going to drag this out. I am probably going to jump around because I just sporadically wrote notes down on a piece of paper here. So, you know, some talking points I didn't want to forget. So I apologize in advance if this is sporadic, but I wanted to get something out before the election. And I made a commitment. You know, I was starting to get very dark. Towards the end, let me just give you a 1-minute summary of Covert Radio. Let me get a drink of my delicious coffee here. It actually snowed here today, so I just now today started drinking my hot coffee again. I've been drinking iced coffee for, well, probably a year straight. I'll have a warm cup here and there, but I'm going to be dedicated this year. Just really have a warm cup in the winter. I think I'm going to lay off of the iced coffee because it's like water to me anymore. I apologize for people who can't stand that, or if that little sip there translated, but yeah, oh, here's my quick summary. That's right. I started getting dark. I started getting dark in my content and really transmitting the I guess the dark side of things, the dark side of looking at certain situations, not real positive. And then I just stopped in my tracks. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to get on the mic, and every time I get on the mic, it's doom and gloom and doom and gloom. I'm not going to do that, even though a lot of times that's what I see, and that's what I'm programmed to see. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here. I am going to talk about the election real quick. We're going to talk about a few different things, but I ask that you give me 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, and if at all, you get bored or whatever, just because there's tons of info in this show right here, and just stick with me here. But the progression of me, after the Sotomayor investigation and just coming to the complete understanding that the vast majority of people that support Sotomayor are black men, young black men. And if you think I'm lying, it's so simply proven. All you have to do is to go to YouTube and type "Leave Tommy Alone" or "Leave Tommy Sotomayor Alone." 98% of everything you see will be young black men. Now, I know you victims out there love to believe, and you racists out there, which is what ultimately got me to stop even getting involved with this, because I literally will not fight all of you. I won't. I'm not going to fight Sotomayor, his cult members, and then a bunch of people that are supposed to be on my side. Like, it's a joke, because at the end of the day, their hate for white men supersedes their want for justice, or their want to level the scales, or their desire to get somebody like Sotomayor off of YouTube or out of the mainstream, where he can just blatantly use this to run scams and schemes and to brainwash people with misogyny and hide behind his black card and hide behind his Trump pad, which is all a joke. I mean, I've come to realize that there's zero doubt in my mind that Sotomayor has somebody at YouTube. I'm not talking like upper echelon, but there is an account manager there who is taking care of him, who has somehow, because I actually have proof recently in the last month or so of a guy in the Boit, which is it's like the sector, but it's a whole other separate area of YouTube. His name is Elvis Travels, and he's been permanently banned from YouTube because he even went to make a second channel, and YouTube immediately shut him down. There's another guy, I'm not going to get all into this, but they've been really shutting people down, and he's showing the emails on Facebook, they're citing our terms of services state that once you're removed and blah, 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 you're not entitled to make another channel and da, 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 da. So they make certain people follow the rules. But people like Sotomayor do not have to follow the rules. And again, I'm just not going to fight all of you guys. I've actually deleted everything. I'm not subscribed to anybody anymore. This is just for the few stragglers that may still listen, or I don't know, but I'm just telling you the progression of Covert Radio. And then it just made me realize, what do these people want? I'm saying the people that I've come to surround myself with, a lot of them were racist. I mean, hateful racist, not just your average racist, but a lot of them too have this victim mentality where, and the Democrats, their media machine has, perfected the use of victim mentality. They know how to make people into victims and then give you a handle to hold on to that victim mentality and then just rock you to sleep rock you to sleep. While they tell you they are going to raise your taxes, while they tell you they are going to mandate unconstitutional physical actions like wearing a mask that doesn't even protect you from sawdust, certain things like that. See, a lot of these people, just as long as they keep getting their checks and their this and their that and their free this and free that and the promise of free this and free that and free this and free that, they're going to do as they're told. That's why the floodgates have been open all these years, because these people are dependent on the system. We're going to touch into this and how it relates, but I want you to understand something. Your place in this society is blatantly clear. We are at a turning point. Nobody like me, personally, me. I was involved with trying to change the order of things. I was involved with trying to change the order of a situation. I wanted to silence somebody who used this platform as a sounding board for hate, misogyny, and scams and schemes and just ruining people's lives. Like people like Shaquita Wingard, and I could name 20 more people. I was involved in trying to change this. There were people close that, we were all like-minded. I'm not saying everybody turned out to be a disappointment, but there was more disappointment in this than anything. I personally, and the people that were close with me, we were involved in trying to change something. We're trying to change the order. But that's not the way this system is set up. The system is set up so that you find your place in the society that they've created. They don't want people to change their order. They don't want or need people to change their order. They don't want that. Those are all the people that are getting kicked off of all the social media platforms. They're the people that enable you to think or encourage you to think are silenced, and the ones who reinforce a certain mindset are uplifted. Your job in all of this, after all your training and brainwashing and your social maze that you've been handed, you're just supposed to find your place and play it out for about 60 years and then you die. That's it. That's all. I'm not about that. They've designed a social contrast for us. I don't like mine. I'm not here to work in a mine or an office or a cubicle. I can't do it. I tried, but I just can't do it. And if you think about how everything's coming to a head right now, how everything's boiling to a specific point, the simple question is this: in a couple days, or have you taken the red pill or the blue pill? Oh, Covert Radio. There's so many people that ask that question. I'm so sick of hearing stuff like that. Red pill, blue pill, red pill. I'm red pill all day. I'm awake. I'm okay. Are you? Did you connect even the simple dot of the red pill representing the red political party? The blue pill representing the blue political party. Vote blue, vote Democrat, Biden. Vote red, vote Trump, Republican. Red pill, blue pill. Red pill, you get shown the truth. You get shown how fake the media is. You get shown the illusion that's pulled over our eyes every day. Or the blue pill, where what was it in the movie? You're a slave, Neo. You're a slave, Neo. So take the blue pill. Biden, Democrat, take the blue pill to stay a slave, Neo. You're going to wake up in your bed thinking it was all a dream. You didn't meet me. You didn't meet Morpheus. You didn't meet didn't have the option of the red pill. You're just going to wake up with a weird dream. That's all. Take the blue pill. Go back to sleep. Take the blue pill. Let Biden, and it's really, this isn't about two men. I'm going to get into that here in a minute too. But you got to understand what they represent. That's what this is about. And they're narrowing people down like never before. We're coming to a point that's irreversibly going to change the trajectory of the United States forever, no matter who wins. No matter who wins. It does not matter. And you're not voting for a person or a man. You're voting for a set of beliefs. You're voting for a belief system. Blue pill, Democrats, you want to stay a communist? You want the socialist structure they're setting up, the communist structure they're setting up? The chip that's going to be implanted in us in the very near future? You ready? They have it ready. They're ready. They're ready. They're ready for the cashless society. They're ready for the one world society. And truthfully, at this point, do you really believe Trump is going to stop any of this? Or do you believe Biden is going to, circumvent any of this? They don't run this. They're just minions. Both of them. For much more powerful people. The people who control both sides of this to give us the false illusion of choice, which we do not have. But it's so shockingly evident this time. It's so shockingly evident. But we're going to get into that in a moment. But this is the people who run the world. They're the ones that want a technologically run planet that's heavily reliant on artificial intelligence, worker robots, and a few dumbed down, vaccinated, drooling slave humans who will, do their bidding. We're also moving back to a form of serfdom. And if you don't know what that is, serfdom we've been there in the past as a world society. Serfdom is the condition of, basically being a renter. You'll be a tenant. You'll be like a farmer, and you're bound to this little plot of land that the king or the landlord has granted you, and you get to work the fields and plow the fields, and in exchange for you working all day, you get to give 60% of your food to the king or whatever you have, whether you have cattle or whatever you have. That's the deal. The state of being a serf, basically a slave, but it's not really, you do get to have freedom as far as your land will reach, I guess you could say, and you're not in chains. But it's just like slavery, but it's not as bad as what being a slave would be. But you're in, you're in a condition of continuous debt, bondage. It's indentured servitude. You're never going to get out of it because their thumb is kept on top of you. You'll never own land. You'll never own the farm. You'll never have enough resources to go buy land, to go buy a farm. We're moving back to that. That's why all the malls are shut down. That's why all of the, strip malls are shut down. That's why there's 5 houses on every block for sale. We're all going to become renters. And we're going to have landlords. They are gutting America right now. And again, it doesn't matter who's going to win in the next day or two. I'm going to tell you what matters here in a few minutes. But we're not going to stop this cashless society by voting for Trump or Biden. Do you understand what I just said? This has been a system they've had in place for 100 years. They've been leading up to this day and age, leading up to this time in history. And then they're like, we're going to raise the minimum wage. These people, they want minimum wage at $15, and they act like they're doing us a favor by increasing the minimum wage to, $15? Even at $16, it's a joke. It's a joke. Because the reality of it is this, and you know this if you are in the workforce. Your job is now basically a job that was done by 2 or 3 people. Because they've constantly consolidated jobs over the last 15 years. What you used to get paid to do, and then they're like, oh, well, hey, we let them go, so you're going to do their job now. We'll give you a little bit more money, 30 more cents an hour. And then another department gets shut down, so you're going to take that job too. And then, just you don't have to do it every day, but we're going to give you another 10 cents an hour. Okay. Instead of paying 3 people an hourly rate, now they pay one person to do the work of 3 people, and they're going to act like they're doing you a favor by raising the minimum wage to like $15 an hour, which is still not enough money to live. You will still be in debt at $15 an hour, and nobody seems to care. And I'm not saying that there's nobody that cares, but who do you think is going to change this? It's not Trump, and it's not Biden. They work for the same people. I know you know that, but I really need you to think about this and start to understand what's happening here, because it's never been more evident than now. It's never been more evident now. The consolidation of jobs, the facilities that are turning to automation. It started with the car industry. One of the biggest union labors at the time, and then somehow they got robotic workers in there, and the union didn't say jack shit about it. Why? Because these same people own the unions. And I'm going to explain. People act like, oh, the unions, that's my protection. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to read a letter to you guys it just came for me. So I'm going to give you a little inside baseball here in a second. But a lot of these jobs have become automated, or now, you got to work over the internets. We're going to use the internets. No more rent, no more this, no more that. You work from home. Same play, like it's almost like what the Chinese have done. The same form of power and communistic control. I've talked about this 100 times, like Foxconn with the suicide nets around the facility. These people live in dorms inside of the Foxconn manufacturing plants. There's 3-4 generations of people that all live in a little one-room dorm-style apartment with bunk beds in it. Grandma works for Foxconn. Mommy works for Foxconn. Kids work for Foxconn. And that's communistic servitude right there, because your pay is spent at the general store that Foxconn owns. You don't pay rent. It's part of your work. It's just a joke. It's a joke. And what do you have, one day off to go around and come on, man. You're going to live 60 years of your life doing that. And then to be constantly threatened, like in America, Social Security is going to be bankrupt by the time you're 62. That's what the vaccines are for, to make sure we don't make it far past 62. If to 62 or not. They have this all set up. Think about what's happening. Put down the brain melting tech for 5 minutes and listen and think. Less people are working. There are even less jobs in America. What do you think is going to happen? And Trump has said, make America great again. How many? I mean, he was less than 1 mile from where I'm at right now. I can see the place he was in 2016, giving his speech, how he's going to make the la and bring job. Okay, this area is even worse than it was in 2016. Even the roads are worse. Trump didn't do jack shit. Okay. For this area, I don't know about your area or your town or your city, but I'm saying this area, and he was here. In fact, I just drove past the building he was in about 7 o'clock earlier tonight. Okay, to go to the dollar store, which I happen to love. There's less people, there's less jobs. Trump really hasn't done anything. He keeps saying all this stuff he does. I haven't seen it. I'm still waiting to win. You cannot talk to Trump people like this, because they lose their mind. They're totally invested into what these controllers have handed them. They've been given a ball of words and wax, and they're saying, now go ahead and complain and talk about this and talk about that. And that's all they talk about. That's all they talk about. Well, Trump said this and Trump said that and he did this and he did that. But then the Rothschilds did this and the Rothschilds did that. Like, come on, man. That's what you're given. You are given that information. Oh, you really figured it out, dude. You know, I said this in a show about a year or two ago. I talked about getting lost in, how did I say it? People were getting lost in trying to explain the truth, the truths that they found. They're getting lost in it. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but we're past that. We're past that. It's time for action. But the action they want us to take is not what we need. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. Just look at Walmart. Speaking of less people, less jobs. I swear to you, every time I go into my one Walmart here, it's like, what? Did you just add like 2 more, self-checkouts? Because it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's like 60 to 70% of Walmarts in my area are now cashless, and they're self-scanning kiosks. You're under full surveillance. You know, it's just a matter of time before instead of a card, you will swipe your hand. Is Trump going to reverse that? Huh? Trump's gonna make America great again. Trump said he's gonna remove the cashless registers out of Walmart, and we're gonna bring American jobs back for a Chinese corporation. Let me get a swig here. That's what my football coach used to say. Like, good, get a swig. No, that's not what he said. He'd be like, go get a swap. He'd be like, go get a swap of water. Whatever that means. You know, ice cold, like ridiculous ice cold water. I don't like ice cold water. But is Trump going to remove all the robots from the car manufacturers and the self-checkouts from Walmart? Is he going to fix everything? You have to understand something about these corporations. You know, America is a okay, listen to me. I'll tell you this. They run America. That's for damn sure. They even now, for 20 years, 15 years, have had their own constitutional rights. A corporation is constitutionally protected as it's a human. You guys know that. But here's the scary thing. I'm going to read this letter. It's only a couple paragraphs. It's not even a letter. Well, it is a letter, but here, you'll see what I mean. Here's the scariest thing about these corporations that keep consolidating. And it was a big joke recently about the, they're looking into Google now, the Trade Commission or whatever. They're going to start trying to break up Google. Why didn't you break up Google 10 years ago? Like they broke up Bell Telephone. What are you threatening to break up Google? You start an IT company, they buy it. You start an app, they buy it. You cannot own a phone today, hardly an iPhone or Android. If you have an Android phone, you might as well say you have a Google phone. Every one of their services are on there. You can't remove them. You can't. It's like what? How did it take all this time for you guys, the government, to finally figure out that Google's too big and they have too much power? But again, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. Google also is part of the machine that runs America. And this piece of paper, this letter that came certified to me, this is the proof. Okay, and I'm going to read this to you. Okay. Do you guys know what the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations is? Its acronym is the AFL-CIO. AFL-CIO. Unless you have a job or you're involved with some stuff like this, you probably don't know what that is. But I'll tell you that it is the largest federation of unions in the United States. It's made up of around 50 or 60 national and international unions. They together, 50, 60 of them together, represent about 15 million active workers and retired workers. Here is what they do every 4 years, but it's even worse this year. Dear Covert Radio, and I'm just going to blaze through this. I can't overstate the importance of voting in this year's election. Your union is counting on you to help make our collective voice heard and ensure that working people's concerns are taken seriously. This is written by a millionaire, or signed, I should say, in ink by a millionaire, co-signed by another millionaire, who's the secretary-treasurer. And here we go. So, they're so concerned over working people, and it's time to take this seriously. When we vote, we get to decide the future of our country. But if we don't, we leave our government in the hands of the rich and powerful. Like the two guys that sent me this, okay? Your vote can make the difference between politicians that prioritize CEOs over working people and allies of working people that will take the needs of union members seriously. Wait for it. Here we go. Joe Biden has the experience and temperament to lead our country for the next 4 years. In this difficult time, we need a leader who can unify the country and guide us forward. And Joe Biden can do that. Biden will take concrete steps to improve the lives of working people. He is the only candidate that will defend our right to organize and collectively bargain, which has repeatedly come under attack. He will reinstate worker safety standards that were dropped and step up enforcement to ensure we're safe on the job. Biden is the best candidate for the working people in America. It goes on and on and on for a few more paragraphs. This is signed in ink by the president, not the president, but the president of this organization and the secretary-treasurer. Let me tell you something. The vast majority of the almost 15 million people that got this don't give two shits about what I'm saying. They don't care. They're fat, they're happy, they got their family, they got their houses, they got their quads, they got their trucks, they got all their toys, they got all their shit, they got their hunting guns, they got their cabin. And they don't give a shit. But what they do care about is their fluffy job. They care about sitting and working and making $30, $40 an hour. That's what they care about. So when the person that is the head of your union and the head of the unions, basically, the federation, when they tell you who to vote for, guess who you're probably going to vote for? Right. This has been my experience no matter what union or corporation I have ever been with in, say, the last 25 years. Around election year, every 4 years, they will absolutely tell you who to vote for. It's illegal for them to do this, but they do it. And this goes to show you, like, these corporations and how much care is given. You know, they talk about corporate bribing of politicians. Are you kidding me? You know, we're not talking about one vote. Corporations have a vote too. Their vote, however, is worth, what, 10,000? If not a couple 100,000, in this case, up to 15 million votes. Because again, they send letters to every single employee. Again, the AFL-CIO, it's the largest federation of unions in the United States, up to 15 million people. Again, what was I saying? You are a slave, Neo. Remember who Neo worked for? He worked for the corporation in his tiny little spirit-crushing cubicle. He knew something was going on. But when you have your little, commands and this and your duties and your alphabet and your language and everything given to you and your priorities and your phone and this is must-see TV and this is the music we're going to jam into your ear no matter if you want to hear it or not, no matter if it's demoralizing you or not, boom, 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 this is what we want you to do. You are a slave, Neo, so take the blue pill. Biden, take it. Stay a slave, stay fat, stay comfy. We're going to try to keep your job in America. See, the funny thing with these union people is they're okay until they're not. They care until they don't care until they do. It's crazy. Don't touch my job, but they'll watch hundreds of thousands of other people in the country lose their job, which they have. It's unbelievable what's happening, and it's unbelievable how much power we have to stop it. Because I'm telling you something, we're the only ones that's able to stop this. We're the only ones. Because they're all in right now. They're all in. Trump has ripped. Listen. Hate him or love him, I don't care. I'm telling you something, though. You cannot ignore what Trump has done. You can't. He's ripped the Band-Aid off of everything and everybody. I mean, there were millions and millions of people, and I've said this for the last 4 years. The thing I love about Trump is the truths he was telling. I'm too smart to be like, Trump, America, grr. I'm too smart for that, okay? But what I did enjoy, and the reason I didn't tear him down too much is because I enjoyed the truth that he would spew constantly about how fake the media really is, how much control there really is, how dirty the political games are. How, easily people are turned into victims and then it's just pathetic. And how easily the media can manipulate you into believe that cops are out hunting black men every day. And it's at, historic levels when there are literally tens of thousands of black men dying every year at the hands of other black men. Do you this is what Trump has proven. They're gutting America all at the same time. All of them are. All of them. They're gutting America. And again, we're moving back into serfdom. We're all going to be renters. We don't really own anything now anyway. You don't pay your rent or your property tax or your school tax. It's all rent. We're all renters anyway, but I'm saying down to now owning a house. It's becoming almost impossible. They're gutting America. They're buying up all of the real estate. The days of home ownership, it's basically over. For any of you young kids listening to me, 20s, teens, 20s, I feel so bad for you. You probably will never own a house. And if you do, it's probably around 5 to 8% of you that will actually step you'll skip on every stone you need to play their game to be able to own a home someday, somewhere. But I assure you, you will work to death to own a home by the time you're my age. And I mean, we're talking not just the 20-year-olds. I mean, it's really anybody right now. We're at such a crux of impassable circumstance. And if people don't realize the power that they're holding in their hands and their hearts right now and in their minds, it's going to change forever. It's going to change forever. They're gutting America. They're gutting the stock market. About 2 years ago, I told you guys, I don't know which show it was. I don't even know if it's still on YouTube. I showed you how the Rothschilds and all the big banks are moving out of the dollar. They're pulling out of the dollar. They're going into gold. Look, gold has never been higher in history. I said that 2 years ago. They knew this was coming. They knew this was the plan. And they're not going to stop now. We're the only ones that can stop them. They're buying up all of the houses. They're buying all of the real estate for pennies on the dollar. They've destroyed the middle class. They've destroyed the business owners. Vast majority of restaurants, bars, clubs, mom and pop shops, this shop, that shop. I mean, just look around. Again, this is probably conditional per wherever you're at. But I know here, every mall is dead. Just about every strip mall is dead. Every block has a minimum of 2 to 3 houses on it. It's all gone. The warehouses are empty. The big industrial plants and mills are virtually one smokestack might be working, and that's it. You got a labor force of 5% of what it used to be. Empty. Empty, vacant, empty, graffiti everywhere, people vandalizing whatever, robbing them, taking the copper out of it, closed, broken down, and all this it's reinforcing tribalism and gang mentality and crime and drug culture, immorality, and the mirror of it is the music and kill and murder and death and murder and kill and drugs and destroying graffiti and gangs and this and that. Here's the fun part. What is stopping me right now? I'm asking you a serious question. What is stopping me from taking my microphone right now to my neighbor's house, kicking the door in, and beating everybody in that house with a baseball bat, recording me cracking their skulls, and then coming back in here and turning on my camera and showing you my bloody bat? What is stopping me from doing that? Go ahead, think about that. Go ahead. I want you to think about it. What is stopping me from that? Oh, Covert Radio, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do it. But why? Why? What is stopping people from doing things like that? Well, the first thing is morality. My own belief in morality and kind heart. My own characteristics, my chemical makeup does not allow me to do that, just to do it. So morality is stopping me from doing that. And the police, the authority, the law is stopping me from doing that, because I'm not going to go to jail for the rest of my life for bashing my neighbor's heads in with a baseball bat. For no reason, really, just to entertain you guys. Or look cool in front of a gang. Or get initiated into a gang. Like Kanika Jenkins. Remember? Gang initiation. Raper, killer, drugger, raper, killer, drugger. Now you're in our gang. And that's all reinforced by the Cardi B's of the world and the mumbling, stumbling, fucking, just don't get me started. They're chipping away at our morality. They've been doing this. They have been doing this. Hollywood has been destroying our morality. They've been destroying our kids. Disney has been destroying our morality, destroying our kids. And really the worst thing is the music industry. It's been demoralizing us and destroying our kids. While at the same time, the same people are gutting America. They're the new kings. They're buying up all the real estate again for pennies on the dollar for a problem that they themselves have caused. So immorality and police are stopping me from doing that. Well, what have they been pushing? No more police. Disband the police. No more police. Really? So you've been chipping away at my morality for the vast majority of my life, And now you want to take away the only major thing that's stopping me from doing stuff like that. So now I have no morality and there's no police. Are you kidding me? Don't you understand what's happening? While the instructions that were given, the alphabet words we're given to play with is causing hundreds of thousands of people, whether you want to call them, doomsday preppers or end timers or whatever you want to call them. These good old boys down the South, they're, the militiamen, which I'm in, I fully support militias. But what they've done is they've allowed them to start stockpiling, ammunition and food and this and that, and barricading themselves and building walls and fences and, outposts and this and that underground, all to what? To protect the Constitution. They're ready. They're armed to the teeth. They're going to kill anybody that, tries to infringe on that. They're ready for the Civil War. They want this race war. They want everything that the controllers are showing you. So if they're like I said when these riots started, when the government allows you to riot, there's something wrong. When the government allows you to tear down monuments and federal property, there is something wrong. These people that are just ready, sitting, waiting, peering out through the blinds of the window, is that what you call freedom? I'm talking to you right now. Is that what you call freedom? You're free. Because why? Because you get to sit there and stare out the window and wait for them to make a move? Like, what are you... That's not freedom, friend. That is not freedom. Because I'm going to tell you something. Faith, morality, and spiritualism. All three of those, faith, morality, and spiritualism, which if you paid attention to what, COVID has done, they've chipped away at the churches. They've stopped this. They've stopped gathering. Morality, the Boy Scouts are destroyed now, this and that. Spiritualism can't go to church, blah, 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 blah. They've swept all of that away. However, that is and always will be the highest form of political protest. Faith, morality, spiritualism, it's always going to be the highest form of political protest. Because, again, we're the ones that have the power. Because this and that and that. No. You don't understand what I'm saying. We have to collectively come together. I've been saying this. Political divide is only to keep all of us separate. That's what politics is. It's just a way to divide the people so we don't come together. But I want to tell you guys something. I don't want to make this long. And this might be the title. Before you vote, this ain't going to be the title because it's too long, but it's going to be something like this. I want you to just understand, before you vote, you need to understand what's expected of you. Or let me say it like this. You need to understand what they are expecting of you. And what you are being programmed to do, what you're being programmed to expect, and what you're being programmed to accept. Because like I said, love or hate Trump, it doesn't matter. There has never, ever, ever, ever been a more clear version of reality until he has been pulling it back and showing everybody how it really works. Love him or hate him. Like I said, he absolutely proved in everybody's living room, not just on the dark corners of the internet, not just in those places, in your mom and dad's living room. He has proven and shown everybody just how biased, how fake, how one-sided and lying and manipulating all of these big media controllers, these mainstream giant corporations. He has shown how it truly is. But these Satanists, again, you need to understand what is expected of you. These Satanists, these same people, these occultists, whatever you want to call them, Zionists, they have created the words for you to use. They've created the situations for you to talk about. That's why, you don't hear me on shows anymore, because I'm sick and tired of these echo chambers. They're Trump and this, and they all talk and say the words that have been given to them. It's just constant reinforcement. They are shown what to do. People like Tucker Carlson, who is essentially a millionaire being paid by billionaires to tell you the truth. And then you have hundreds of thousands of mini Tucker Carlsons out talking and grinding their voice like this on InfoWars and whatever else in the Chi-Coms. And they're teaching the millions of wannabe Jones to talk like this, and Trump said this, and I like Trump, and Trump did that, and this and that, and Trump make America great again, them Chi-Coms, we got to get China out of here, blah, 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 okay? They're giving you the words to use. They're showing you how to use them. They're creating all of this. They've created all of this. And they keep reinforcing it. They keep reinforcing the meaning. They keep reinforcing the description, the expectation. Program you, program me, program you. It's all how to handle what's about to happen. Because, and I'm going to show you how they have been for the last couple years training us what to expect. But it's as simple as this, if I can explain it this way. These people have no morality. They have no conscience. They have no hearts. You can't understand the occultic evil. These are people that sacrifice children, that are legalizing the sacrifice of children after they are born. They can then be killed if the mother discusses and wants it to happen. Oh, it's called abortion. But a lot of this is intention. Because the intention is to imprint all of us with their definitions and their instructions. They need us to perform in a way that they can control. And everything I've heard in the last 2, 3, 4 months, because really that's when I started, like, I can't listen to this anymore, because it's just a performance of what they are handing down, which is all going to benefit what they expect and they want. It's what they want for them, which is power and control over us. And they want power and control over the resources, and they want power and control over land. So they've instructed certain people and, to instruct others how to perform, what words to use, what to care about. Hey, look at this. This is about to happen. The George Floyd situation, which I still never got to really cover. And how Tyler, the Creator, ties into... I'll blow your mind. I hope I have time to do that. You got to understand the power of words, too. And I've said this to Sotomayor before, and he agreed that words are the most powerful things, really, truthfully, on this planet. One of the most powerful forces on this planet. But you have to understand what they mean. Like, a lot of this is tribalism anymore. And their whole goal since COVID and really Colin Kaepernick and all this was to start creating the individual. And if you look at the word in divide you all. Divide you all. In divide you all. Now we're all divided. We can't be within 6 feet of anybody. We can't go to church. We can't pray together. We can't, and they're saying, oh, you can't have more than 2 families at your Thanksgiving dinner. Like, there have always been tribes. Look what they did to football. They have shattered our tribalism to the point of almost irreversible control. They've shattered even football. Do you know how many people that I personally know that have not even watched one football game this year? Because they just don't care. They've been shattered. They don't want to watch Kaepernick and people like him drop a knee and disrespect, because that's how they look at it. They don't look at it as somebody, exercising their right or free speech or whatever. They look at that as disrespect to America. And they're not going to spend their hundreds and hundreds of dollars to buy a jersey or go to a game to have their country disrespected by somebody like a millionaire like Colin Kaepernick, who's a victim, another millionaire victim. And a lot of the Democrats are millionaire, billionaire victims. It's a joke. But here's a little bit of inside baseball. Like football and dividing everybody, dividing the teams. Now, people in the same house who love the same team cried and cheered last year for say, whatever team, the 49ers. They might not even be talking this year because of the belief system of politics. And again, this is all handed down to us. The biggest modern day tribalistic unifier. I have talked about this relentlessly over the last 4 years. I've talked about tribalism relentlessly over the last several years, but now we're all divided. Divide you all. And here's the bottom line. They call themselves the Illuminati, or they're this, or the illuminated ones. That is true, but it's not how a lot of people look at it. I want you to think about this, because I was just at an auction. It's about a month ago, and I bought a lot of a bunch of old camera equipment. And there was an old Super 8 projector. I've never owned a Super 8 projector in my life. And I couldn't wait to get it home and, open it up and see how it worked, and read about it online and da-da-da-da-da and this and that. So, I mean, I know how they work, but you got to take the film in certain ways and do this and, whatever. So I finally hear tick, 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 and it's going, and I realize, how expensive these bulbs are that illuminate and cast the image of the film. The bulbs illuminate the film and cast the image on the wall, and you sit there and stare at it. And just like I've always said about Hollywood in general, the illuminated ones, the ones who illuminate, they are illuminating a piece of film and showing us the cows, the cattle. That's why they give us popcorn in a theater, because it's a joke to them. They're feeding the cows, the animals. They're feeding us, the livestock, corn. We're eating corn just like the pigs do, just like the cows do. So we sit there and eat our corn while we are mesmerized by the illuminated tape that's being shown to us on the big screen. And it's blinding us. It's being burned into our retinas. It's being burned into our corneas. And that's why I've talked about these big TVs and it, for the last 4 years. I got a 70-inch for $200, stupid idiots. Who is the idiot? You've brought the silver screen into your home now so that those images can be burned. They are the illuminated ones. They're illuminating what they want us to believe is reality. These are the same people that have created the language. They're the same ones that give language definition. Meme, emoji. They want us to act out the reality they're creating. I've talked about this before. The commercials with the dad singing, Bohemian Rhapsody, driving the kids to school. And I said, do you know how many dads across America over the next few days put Bohemian Rhapsody on, and they all did that? They reenacted it on the way to school because the illuminated film showed them. They want us to act out. Be the woman who just put the skin conditioner, be the woman who just, put the conditioner in her hair and it's growing. Act it out. Buy this, do that, believe this, believe that. I've said this. Covert Radio has said this almost since day one. I've talked about Medea, the power of Medea, the enchantress, and I've talked about creating the image, repeating the message as often as you can. I said that's Medea 101. We are under their influence and their power. These are Luciferian occultists, especially the music industry. With your little girl, 8 years old, sitting in the back of the car talking about her WAP, or how the smell of sex excites her in whips and chains. This is right on the radio. And we're all falling right in line with this bullshit of Biden and Trump. Let me understand you something. let me explain something to you. It's never been more clear what these two people represent. We're not voting for two men. We're voting for what they represent. You either be a slave to the government and you'll get your free money and your free food and you'll have your socialism and your communism and you'll never achieve anything. You'll work some mundane job and have some mundane life. You'll be on vaccines and this. You won't be able to think. You'll have your big screen at home and you'll be dead at age 60. You can have that all day. Believe in your vaccines. Believe in your mask. Believe in this. Believe in everything you're told. Okay? Create the zombie population that they just been, folding their hands and licking their lips to get that zombie population of sick people and medical guinea pigs and worker ants. Oh, they can't wait. While these same people with their family and their progeny and their generations will travel, they'll have the whole earth to go where they want, and there'll be less people, so they'll have cleaner water and the beach will be empty, and they can sail where they want or fly where they want or take a train when they want, while we're sitting in a cubicle worried about our credit card bill and this bill and that bill and the gas bill and the cable bill and that bill and this bill. All living in debt. Because we just, got $15 an hour, even though we can't get out of debt. We can't get out of debt. And if you do it right and you do what you're told to do, you will be in debt by the age of 21? You'll be 60 grand in debt with college, strangling you for the rest of your life. Nobody's ever questioned this. Nobody's questioning why everything is so expensive and we have to go into debt to pay for it. They won't pay us a fair wage. And they act like giving us $15 is a gift. But we can't get out of debt. That is a slave system of servitude, of serfs. Compare that, though. Okay, let's say those are, Democrats by large. Compare that to those who vote for Trump. Again, it's what these guys represent. It's not who they are. It's not what they've done. Even though they've pulled out all the stops. Those who vote for Trump, they're sovereign. They believe in America. They want our country to be great again. They believe in the sovereignty of America. They want us to be left alone. They want to close the borders. Again, it's not about two guys. It's about what they represent. Because everything's coming out in the open. But here's the scariest part I noticed so far this year. Among the millions of other things I could talk about, this is what kind of shook me. And I'm going to show you guys something. I didn't want to make this much over an hour. So let me hurry up with this here. I'm going to show you a video or two. I've never seen this before. I knew this, but I've never seen it. Did you guys see? Because you can't go to YouTube or watch anything on television without, your program and political ad. Your program, political ad. I've never really seen it like this ever. And I've never seen bullying used as a technique. If you've seen the commercial, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a commercial that talks about, and your neighbors will know who you voted for. It's like this real dark and like blah, blah, blah. Like, Your neighbors are going to know who you vote. So now they're using shaming techniques. They've tried all they could to turn Trump into a dictator and a Nazi and a white supremacist and this and a womanizer and that and get peed on and blah, la, 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 la. So now if you vote for Trump, your neighbors are going to know who you vote for because, do you know this? It is absolutely legal in most states for people to get voter records. And they're now using that as a scare tactic to threaten you, The Democrats are doing this. I'm pretty much not biased. And I just call it as I see it. But it is the Democrats that are doing this. And I've never seen this done before. However, mind you, this is after an entire summer of news and reports about Antifa and BLM and all these terrorists roaming the streets and tearing shit down and targeting people and killing people and burning this down and doing this and all this and that and this and that and this and that, okay? Now they're saying, oh, your neighbors will know who you voted for. This is the type of media we're looking at here. Let me hit play on this real quick.
Well, the election is over, but one controversy remains. It involves these mailers sent to residents in Harris County that claim to reveal your and your neighbors' voting records. We heard from several Channel 2 viewers who got these mailers, and they wanted to know, how is this possible? Well, Channel 2's Sion Rhodes joins us live tonight with how your voting record can be so easily accessed. Sion?
And Bill, those flyers were naming and shaming you to get to the polls based on information that's publicly available based under state law. It wasn't the most subtle of the many political flyers in the mail this election season.
They're putting people on blast.
Your voting record graded A through, in this case, F, compared with your actual neighbors who are excellent.
I actually received one of these myself, gave my voting grade and told me which of my neighbors had voted.
What was your grade?
It was good. It was good.
Douglas Ray is a managing attorney with the Harris County Attorney's Office. He specializes in elections and says he got a lot of questions from voters concerned about these flyers.
It's not illegal.
In Texas, parts of your voter registration and voting record are public information. Your name, your address, and whether you voted in any given election.
Information such as social security number, your driver's license number, your birth date, things like that are not available. They can't tell how you voted. Your actual ballot is secret.
Campaign consultants and political action committees use the publicly available information to help get out the vote for their issue or candidate.
I don't think they'd be doing it if it didn't work.
With lines like, what if your neighbors knew whether you voted? Many say the flyers are effective.
That kind of kicked you in the pants to go vote.
You haven't voted. I might go knock on their door or something. Hey, you need to go vote.
So you're
Yeah, there you go. Let me play this one for you guys here, too.
Live from the local station, News 4 Jax starts now.
Right now at 5:30, local voters rattled when they received a threatening email attributed to a group tied to white supremacy. The email was sent to Floridians registered as Democrats, and the threat said to vote Trump or else. While law enforcement has said this email is a scam sent from IP addresses overseas, it's left many wondering how they knew who to send that email to.
Yeah, so News 4 Jax consumer investigator Lauren Verno dove into how people get this information and what protections you have. Lauren?
Joy Tarek, it may seem scary, but if you're a registered voter in Florida, I know your address, party affiliation, and how you vote. All because it's on this disc. All of that information is public record and can be requested by anyone for free under Florida law. Every time someone registers to vote, 38 different pieces of personal information is collected and attributed to that person. And all of it is public.
We get a lot of phone calls. How did they get my text number? How did they get my email?
Duval County Chief Elections Officer Robert Phillips says your local supervisor of elections office is not the one supplying that information. But on a state level, anyone can request a voter extract disc. The state provides a monthly disc that's comprised of all the voters in Florida. It includes voter registration information like your party affiliation and voting information like how you voted up to the last day of the month. So for instance, the next disc is available to be requested on October 28th. And sometimes sometimes third parties take that information and sell it.
There's nothing you guys can really do when it goes into those third parties.
No, once it gets to that third party, it's kind of out of our hands. Yeah.
And that's probably how these people got email addresses.
Yes, that's correct.
Phillips says for this election, you can only update your physical address or party affiliation online. However, both Duval County and St. John Supervisor of Elections say if you are concerned about any public information, your best route is to reach out to them directly. And for the next election cycle, you don't have to fill out everything.
Are you able to fill out your voter registration without putting your phone number down?
Yeah, a phone number and email is not required.
But by now, you have to assume the information you filled out for this election is already out there. And even though a lot of information is public,
can someone see who you voted for?
No, they absolutely, positively cannot.
That's because Florida is a secret ballot state. So by law, no one can know who you voted for unless you tell them.
Now, if you do decide to change your party affiliation because you don't want people to know who you're affiliated with, just remember in the
Let me clear that up for you guys here. And, you know, a lot of states, they have it so that, you know, the voting booths are private and only one at a time, or they have those real big high things on them or whatever. But all you have to do is request a disc like they were talking about here or the other state. I forget what state it was, and you can get the records. But you know, they boil it down to Republican and Democrat every year. So when you do see who you're registered with, that's basically saying who you're voting for. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be a registered Democrat and vote for a Republican. I mean, unless you're playing a game, but I mean, the core standard of people, they don't do that. So, okay, in this one state, they will not give you the exact name of who you're voting for judge or this or that or president. All right. But other states, they will, and it's public information. The unbelievable part is how the Democrats are using this as a technique to threaten people. That you will be doxxed, or you're going to be exposed, or you know, you're going to be prosecuted for your political views and beliefs and who you vote for. And the media, the same people, these occultists, Satanists, they've been training you and they've been training us that it's acceptable. Again, all summer, it's acceptable to get in your emotions and completely be victimized and trained of how to be a victim, to care about. Just please don't get me started. It's not that I don't care. I've explained all this. I don't have to explain myself to anyone, but I'm telling you, there's bigger problems than your random crazy or military trained or Israeli trained cop killing a black man. There's way bigger issues, but they decided to allow everybody to hold on to that victim card and then encourage them and showed them how to burn the country down. And they've tried to I was going to show you a couple other things, how they were trying to get people back in the streets. I said before the election, they will have people back in the streets. But again, they've been training us that it's okay to prosecute people for their political views. They wrote the book on this. They wrote the book on you becoming a victim because you become a useful idiot to them. Oh, your country, you were targeted for your religious belief. Come to America. Oh, you're black. You're targeted because of your come to the Democrat. Like they allow people to be victims because they become useful voting idiots to them. They're the biggest ones who push a victim mentality. And again, for some reason, for a couple years, they've been training us. It's acceptable to go after people because of what they believe. Because of what they believe. Not what they've done, but what they believe. The machine will not stop. Okay? The machine will not stop. It's not going to stop. We're the ones who have to stop it. You know, just like what they did to Tucker Carlson. They, you know, again, he's part of this, but, you know, He allowed the world to see this is training for everybody so it's okay to target people. Remember this?
We know where you sleep at night.
We know where you sleep at night.
You can tell that woman's 500 pounds. You can just hear it in her voice. We know where you sleep at night. IQ of 85. We know where you sleep at night. I'm a victim, Tucker. It's your fault, Tucker. I know where you sleep at night.
So to restate, the caravan is in fact heavily male and highly dangerous. According to Border Control, at least one member of the caravan has already admitted to being a member of MS-13. All of this should worry us.
This has to stop. Megyn Kelly said this. Who are we? What are we becoming? Tucker Carlson is tough and can handle a lot, but he does not deserve this. His family, which I agree with, his family does not deserve this. It's stomach turning. Yeah, that's the other thing about the Democrats. We believe survivors is if you have a vagina, you're telling the truth.
We survivors! We believe survivors!
There you go. They're making it okay. Tucker was showing everybody they're standing outside of my house. Fox News, all the news outlets showed it. They've been displaying this, that it's okay. It's becoming okay to be prosecuted. So where do we go from here? Listen, the FEMA camps are still open, and they're still built, and they're still ready to go. So the question is, who is going to be sent to the camps? I have a quick theory about this. Hillary said it 4 years ago. She called the Trump supporters the deplorables. She called Republicans, the church going, Christian believing, hardworking people of the country, the deplorables, the basement dwellers, the deplorables. She said that 4 years ago. They've done nothing in the last 4 years but demonize the deplorables. They've blamed, the right-wing extremists, racist, Nazi, whatever, white power, whatever. It was them. They've shown violence against the deplorables. I'm throwing up quotations. And they've shown their media has shown it's acceptable to do that. It's acceptable to violate the deplorables, sucker punch them, swing bike locks and crack their skull open, tase them, burn them, kick them, shoot them, punch them. It's all acceptable. The news said so. The government said so. It's all okay. We can do that. And they've shut down the deplorables gathering places, like I said, the churches and whatever, and now they're being persecuted. So here's a quick theory of mine. Again, this is going to take 1 minute. There's two men. Each of them represent a very specific way of life. Whoever wins, I guess you could say, or whoever's deemed, I should say, the winner, the other one is going to have to make a choice. Are you willing to live, my opinion, under a communist dictatorship in a country that's based after China with less rights, more taxes, less jobs, more control? Or are you willing to fight for the country that your ancestors bled on? There's blood in this ground, yet there are senators in our Congress that have never had one relative in this country bleed one drop of blood in this ground. but they're creating our laws and they're helping guide all this? No, I don't think so. So it's going to be up to a lot of people if they want to accept what's going on or not. If they want to accept who's deemed the president of the United States or not. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made. But I'm telling you, the FEMA camps are open. And they're not going to stop. The mark of the beast is real. The mark of the beast is real. Because no matter the outcome, it's coming. It's coming. Whether we want it to or not, it's coming. Here is the difference. You and I are the only ones that can stand up now, today, and say no. No more. No more demoralization. No more, people who really don't even live in this country. I mean, they are dual citizens of other countries like Israel, creating laws and guiding our ship. We're the ones that have to stop this. Because if there's enough people that are compliant with communism, as long as they have their iPhone, their food stamps every month, and this and that, and their free health care, and free this and free that, and free college, and free whatever, free. That's all they had to say to these millennials and these younger kids. Free. And they're like, yeah, I'll vote. Bernie. You'll never get it. Nothing is free. And we're going to be swept into communism. The camps are going to be filled up with political prisoners. That is my prediction. One way or another, those camps will be filled with political prisoners. And it's very possible that this election is just a finalized list of who's going to be in those camps. Because guess what? If you're not going to be part of this system, if you're going to balk at the thought of being chipped and having RFID trackers installed in you and COVID tracing apps and this and your phone with 5G, constantly, monitoring your medicine, your health, your emotions, your actions, what you read, what you say, what you do. It's all online now. You can't work, can't go to church. What you say, it's all recorded. It's all part of the Borg. It's all part of your online identity. It's you. Here's porn. Here's this. Here's that. Here's this. Here's more drugs. Oh, wait, here's the vaccine. We got this. We got that. If you're going to balk against any of that, then they don't need you. And now they have the list. Who did you vote for? Because he represents what? Oh, okay. Because I'm telling you, if you don't fight for it, it's gone. It's gone. Faith, morality, and spiritualism is the highest form of political protest. And my gut tells me this, and this is the only reason why I decided to do this tonight instead of just go have fun. My gut tells me this. There are way more people who don't want this than people who do want this. Meaning, there are more people who do not want a race war. Even though it's being handed to us on a silver platter. And the media is designed to infuriate both people on both sides, no matter what color your spacesuit, no matter how much melanin is in your skin. It's all designed to infuriate us so we... it's like shocking a cow so he doesn't cross a fence. That's what they're doing to us. But there are way more people who do not want that than there are who want that. And there are also way more people who do not want a civil war than people who do want a civil war. We're the only ones that can control that. We're the only ones that can control that. We have to get somebody to represent the people. Covert Radio is probably running for president within the next 8 years, if there is still a United States of America. You've heard it here first. Ephesians 6:12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." That is what we're fighting against. The demoralization, the automation, the artificial intelligent robotic mess and tracking system that's coming. It's here. It's here. It's here. And I'm going to tell you something. If you think these people can make a vaccine for a virus in a few months or a year, but they still have not found a cure for cancer in 30, 40, 50 years, you're a fool. You're a fool. And the facts state this. The flu vaccine has been around for almost 80 years. 80 years. And they have never had one season of flu. Not one flu season has it ever been effective. Yet they've continued to make it and push it for 80 years. And it has yet to work. One flu season. Think about that. I want you to think about that. It's your choice. What's about to happen is your choice. But I want you to understand what's being shown to you. What's being expected of you. And I also want you to understand what you've been forced to accept. Jeffrey Epstein and, the normalization of pedophilia with shows like Cutie. Here, let me show you this real quick, actually, before I end this. Whether this is real or not, Netflix subscriptions. This was just a few days ago. Netflix subscriptions, cancellations. Netflix subscription cancellations skyrocket after Cutie's backlash. And if you followed Covert Radio for the last few years, my video that was called YouTube's Dirty Little Secret, remember that? About pedophilia and the normalization of pedophilia. That's what basically Cuties is. It's just this little, semi-soft porn, whatever, sexualization of little girls. There's a gentleman that we all know who sexualizes young girls all the time. This has been brought to the attention of YouTube. They've done nothing ever one time about it. But you have to understand what you're being trained to accept. Normalization of pedophilia is the absolute end. God, whoever controls this, will not stand for much more than that. It's something written like you may as well just tie a millstone around your neck and cast yourself in the deepest of the oceans, lest you hurt one of these young ones. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. They've tried to normalize. Mommy, what's pedophilia? Who's Jeffrey Epstein? It was all over the news everywhere. They talk about it in school. Normalizing, accept it, normalizing, accept it. Cuties here. Normalize it, accept it. Now we had Hunter Biden with his laptop sexually abusing and beating the crap out of that little Chinese girl. Like, you have your own head buried in these senseless, stupid, pointless gadgets. You have your face buried in garbage, in corn, in the food that they are illuminating, the images they are illuminating. Your face is buried in it. And a lot of you are buried into all this senseless garbage in the sector and these idiots that just please, man, it's all such a waste of time. It's all such a waste of time. YouTube is in general is a waste of time. I mean, it is useful here and there, but it's changed a lot. It's becoming a pretty big waste of time. They want to be Netflix. And I've said that for years. You're into all this stuff, but you have no idea what your own kids are doing in their room, in the other room, in the basement. You have no idea. Wake up. Wake up. It's your choice. It's your choice. You're either going to accept the Satanists, you're going to accept their immorality, you're going to accept their occult way of life, their magic, their spells, their illuminated images. What do you think the people who burned the witches, who do you think the witches were back then? It's all been rebranded. Do you think there were old cackling women in pointy hats making potions in the woods? The people that were burned at the stake were the people that were trying to demoralize our children. It was the same people who were casting these illuminated spells. It's your choice. But you are being trained to accept this evil. You're being trained to accept the surveillance. And you're being trained to accept these leaders who have been exposed as pedophiles, immoral, communist, just evil people. And you've lastly been trained recently for the electronic scanning of your forehead to get your body temperature. See if you have the COVID. Do-do-do-do. Stop there. Do-do-do-do. Let me scan you. Do-do-do-do. They don't tell you it's causing damage to your pineal gland. They're not telling you that. And it's slave training. It's slave training. It's being done to acclimate you into the scanning of your foreheads, to identify you with the coming mark of the beast. It's your choice. I'm Covert Radio. I have a Patreon. If you want to support this type of media, if you do, do. If you don't, don't. Again, it's your choice. But it's coming. You guys take care. Have a good day.